Ever since he's debuted in WWE, this guy has turned into an Amazon fulfillment worker. He has been packing people up left and right and slapping labels on them and shipping them off. And I'm talking about Jacob Fatu. This guy is wild, and I've been loving every second of it. In fact, he is one of my favorite wrestlers right now in WWE. So we're going to watch this video called The Extraordinary Rise of Jacob Fatu to get a little bit more history of where he came from and how he got to be where he is. Now, before we get started, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this.
Jacob Fatu is
super kick. He said, Kevin, when you hit me with that again, put some barbecue sauce on that because I'm about to eat that one too.
monster heel. He has officially joined the new Bloodline alongside Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa. But when you look at the members of the new Bloodline, you can't help but notice that Jacob Fatu stands out. He is that guy. He has that dog in him. He has something that this new Bloodline has been lacking. Aura. Jacob.
All right, guys, we got to stop disrespecting Solo Sikoa, man. He's getting better as he gets more of these vignettes and stuff like that. But to be fair, it don't matter who is going to be the tribal chief. It doesn't matter who's going to be the universal champion. It doesn't matter if he's going to be the tribal chief of the old or new bloodline. Whoever it was going to be, they were going to start off at a deficit because no one's going to be on the level of Roman Reigns. He is one of the best and has way more aura than most people do in their entire promotion. Now, when it comes to the Usos, people have known them for a long time, so there's already an advantage. I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. Solo Sikoa doesn't have aura, but I do respect him. That's no disrespect to him, but thankfully for him, we got Jacob Fatu, and he got more aura than the whole team. So that's all you need right now. So now, at some point in the future, I think the conversation got to come up. Who has more aura, Jacob Fatu or Roman Reigns? Not right now, but in the future, we might have to have that conversation. But let's continue.
Fatu's arrival was teased for months, even before WrestleMania. In fact, he was there backstage at WrestleMania 40. So why did it take so long for him to debut? We'll get to that, but first what we need to understand is that this man is special, and WWE realizes that for those who are not familiar with him. He is the son of Sam Fatu, also known as the Tonga Kid, who was a part of WWF in the past. The Tonga Kid is the first cousin of Roman Reigns. And Jacob is also the nephew of the late great Umaga and Rikishi, which makes him the cousin of the Usos and Sikoa. Standing at 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighing about 280 pounds, the Samoan werewolf manages to look like a monster and fly.
He trimmed down a lot when he came to WWE. Like when he debuted, I was like, dang, is that a clone? Like, but good for him, man. Good for him.
Like a bird. Imagine this, you are playing WWE 2K and you give Umaga the moveset of Rey
2K.
Mysterio. This man is the real-life version of that. With decent promo skills and unrealistic in-ring abilities, Jacob Fatu has managed to thrive everywhere he went. However, his career would never have even started if it weren't for the Usos. You see, Jacob Fatu wasn't always the Samoan werewolf. Before his wrestling career, Fatu was a normal teenager. He never really dreamed of being a wrestler as a kid. At the age of 18, Fatu made a mistake, like all dumb teenagers do when they are young. In 2010, Fatu faced legal trouble when he was arrested for armed robbery and had to spend time in Sacramento County Jail. But perhaps that mistake was a blessing in disguise. While spending time in a jail dorm, Jacob was casually flipping through the channels. And what did he happen to come across? The Hart Dynasty versus the Usos and Tamina. In his exact words, he said, I was flipping through the channels and I seen my brothers in them. I think that's kind of like where I made my mind up. And so it started. After finishing his time in jail, Jacob immediately knew what he wanted. And so Jacob Samuel Fatu began his wrestling.
All that flashing and stuff, it's like, it's messing with my eyes. But can you imagine being in a prison cell with Jacob Fatu, bro? Like, I wouldn't cough wrong around him. I wouldn't breathe wrong around him. That is a scary, scary situation to be in.
Training shortly with Knox Pro Wrestling Academy in Southern California. His uncle, Rikishi, and another uncle, Black Pearl, aka Reno Anoa'i, took him under their wing. Fun fact, Jacob had actually been learning at his uncle Rikishi's before joining the academy. He said, that's actually where I learned how to do my backflips, was at my uncle Rikishi's house. From the wrestling ring, go dive out, bounce onto the trampoline into the pool, after learning the ropes. Shortly after, at the age of 18, Jacob would make his in-ring debut at the academy, teaming up with his uncle and mentor, Black Pearl. For the next few years, Jacob would mostly wrestle on independent promotions, but in 2018, he got his big opportunity in Mexico, where he wrestled for the Lucha Libre promotion, The Crash. He participated in a trios match against Octagon and Blue Demon Jr.
Oh, I didn't know about that match.
Despite the loss, this match provided him with a bigger stage to showcase his talent, and Jacob would eventually get his big break next year as he would sign with Major League Wrestling in 2019, where he would join his family members, Samu and his son, Lance Anoa'i, in the company. Jacob would shortly debut with his frequent tag team partner, Joseph Samael, in a non-televised match. Perhaps the higher-ups were impressed with Jacob quickly, as he would shortly make his televised debut for MLW at their event Intimidation Game on March 2nd. He debuted in big fashion, making a statement by attacking the MLW World Heavyweight Champion, the former UFC fighter Tom Lawler, who had a grueling steel cage match against Low Ki. After the match, Tom Lawler's former tag team partner, Simon Gotch, attacked him, and the debuting Jacob Fatu and Joseph Samael joined Gotch in attacking Lawler, and the three declared themselves Contra Unit and covered Lawler in a customized Contra flag. This was just the beginning of Jacob Fatu's legendary MLW career. Fatu
I gotta get a Contra Unit t-shirt, man. It looks fire.
Lead the Contra Unit, and they would go on to feud with the reigning MLW World Champion, filthy Tom Lawler. Jacob Fatu was positioned as a dominant force and was immediately put into the world title scene. In July 2019, Fatu would challenge Lawler for the World Heavyweight Championship. After a brutal match, Jacob would hit the pop-up Samoan drop, get to the top of the turnbuckle, and hit his finisher, the mighty moonsault. And that was the finish.
That's the one.
7.5 years into his wrestling career, Jacob Fatu was the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. In just half a year into his debut, Jacob had achieved the pinnacle of MLW. But what truly made Jacob a legend in MLW is his championship reign. In the following month, Jacob would beat Tom Lawler again to retain his world title. Then, Jacob Fatu would headline MLW's first ever pay-per-view event, the Saturday Night Super Fight, where he would face LA Park in the main event in a no disqualification match. Park won a battle royale and earned a golden ticket, which they can redeem for a future World Heavyweight Championship match, anytime, anywhere. It's kind of like a mix of Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble. They would almost have a 30-minute match, and they had a war. Eventually, Jacob Fatu would come out victorious, further cementing his title reign. But this was just the tip of the iceberg for his dominant title reign. Apparently, all these new Samoans need to have a lengthy title reign, just like his cousins, the Usos, and Uncle Roman Reigns. Jacob Fatu would go on to have a dominant title reign of 819 days.
Damn.
Yep, you heard it right. Jacob Fatu is the longest reigning MLW World Heavyweight Champion in the history of the company. Jacob would...
Is it safe to call like the past like 20 years of wrestling? You know, like I know the Samoans have been around for a long time, but as far as like the recent era of like the dominant Samoans, they've been killing it the past 10, 20 years. It's been crazy.
Would dominate during those years. Fatu would face one of his biggest challenges to his title reign, Alex Hammerstone, who was also the national openweight champion. It was champion versus champion,
is a beast.
Winner takes all. But how did Jacob end up in this situation? Well, during the pandemic in 2020, when the world shut down, Jacob Fatu's group, Contra Unit, attacked several MLW wrestlers and hijacked MLW's headquarters. And because of that, MLW had to shut their operations and go on a hiatus up until November of that year, where Hammerstone demanded a title shot for Jacob's World Heavyweight title. Alex Hammerstone had a major role in retrieving MLW from Contra Unit's occupation. Hammerstone confronted Fatu later that night, but he would be attacked by Mads Kruger, who would make his debut and was the newest member of Contra Unit. This turned Hammerstone into a massive fan favorite. Hammerstone would have a feud with Kruger and would win. Keep in mind, Hammerstone was the inaugural national openweight champion. Hammerstone would earn the right to challenge Jacob Fatu by winning
And Hammerstone was he still is a beast, bro. He's a beast. Like it kind of gives me like a Brock Lesnar-esque type vibe in my personal opinion. He's a beast, man.
Battle Riot match to earn the golden ticket. And who did he eliminate to win? The newest member of the Contra Unit, Mads Kruger. The match was set. It was title versus title. It was MLW's version of Brock Lesnar versus Umaga. After a grueling 30-minute match, Hammerstone would hit his finisher on Fatu to pin him 1, 2, 3, and there it was. Alexander Hammerstone ended the historic 819-day reign of Jacob Fatu, but Fatu wouldn't be finished with it. In an attempt to regain their dominance, Contra Unit would go on to face Hammerstone's team at War Chamber, which basically was just war games. It was Jacob Fatu's team, Contra Unit versus Alex Hammerstone's group Dynasty. Fun fact, MJF was a part of Hammerstone's team during this match. God damn, the rich history. Unfortunately for Jacob Fatu, the Contra Unit would lose the match, and after the loss, the group would seemingly dissolve that night. But Jacob Fatu's story wasn't done there. He would feud with former faction mate Mads Kruger for the next few months. The former teammates would trade victories in several matches, but their final showdown would be a Kings of Colosseum pay-per-view in a weapons of mass destruction match, which is basically an extreme rules match.
Yeah.
But the ringside area is weaponized and fortified with military-grade equipment, military cases containing mysterious weapons placed in the arena, and anything goes. Fatu and Kruger would have a match that would live up to the expectations and exceed them. It was everything: huge spots, table spots, everything. For the finish, Jacob would climb to the top of the ladder and hit a Samoan splash onto Mads from 10 feet in air and go for the cover. 1, 2, 3, and here's your winner, Jacob Fatu. Fatu was finally over with Kruger. Jacob Fatu has won the war, but wait, Kruger just...
Yo, kayfabe or not, getting hit with a Samoan splash from somebody of his size from 10 feet in the air, bro, my insides would be all smashed up. There's no way I'm getting up after that.
got up and suddenly attacked Fatu. The brawl would carry onto the ringside, where Kruger would try to throw Fatu into a container of some biohazard gas crap. I don't know what it was, but it looked dangerous. Fatu would counter and put Kruger's head into the container and take off Kruger's mask. I think he burnt his face or something. Fatu would lick the mask like a crazy Samoan, and some biohazard protection people came to save Kruger. But that was it, the end of that feud. In just a few short years, Jacob Fatu had cemented
So
him.
forget all the people in the crowd who's sitting next to all that chemical stuff. That one guy got to wear a suit, they not wear. That's messed up. That's how pandemics get started, bro.
Himself as a MLW legend. He would win his second championship on April 6th, 2023. He would defeat John Hennigan for the MLW National Openweight Championship. On February 1st, 2024, Rikishi announced that Fatu was now a free agent, ending his 5-year tenure with Major League Wrestling. Reports and rumors said that he could head to either WWE, AEW, or TNA. Fatu would have his final match in MLW against his longtime rival and former friend Mads Kruger in a Balecki brawl match.
Man, they stay
Basically, a
fighting.
no disqualification match. Fatu
Who got a longer beef, him or him and Max Kruger or Peter Griffin and the Chicken? Because these ones been fighting forever, bro.
was defeated by Kruger. This marked Fatu's final appearance for the company. And that was Jacob Fatu's run in MLW. Pretty great stuff, if you ask me. The man made a name for himself there and proved that he was a great wrestler. He also had an appearance in New Japan Pro Wrestling on January the 13th, 2024. He had his debut match
forgot about
in a
that.
6-man tag team match against his old rival, Tom Lawler. And that gets us to the present. There were rumors that Jacob Fatu had signed with WWE in April. Jacob Fatu as WWE champion in 2027. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there are people saying that he's the best member of the Bloodline.
Probably
That
be
is apart
sooner
from
than
Roman
that.
Reigns and Sami Zayn. Yes, I still consider Sami Zayn a part of the Bloodline. Go cry me a river. When I see a picture of Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, it kind of reminds of that meme during WrestleMania season, where it said, Roman Reigns when The Rock is around. And it had a picture of Solo
Dang,
Sikoa.
that's
Jacob
crazy.
Fatu is like The Rock to Solo Sikoa's Roman Reigns. Personally, if you ask me, when I was watching that debut, man, as much as I love Solo Sikoa, he's got a nice voice and all, he can sing the American National Anthem, that's all cool. But he just lacks one thing that Jacob Fatu has: aura. I remember when WWE tried to make Solo look like a monster by having him squash John Cena, but it didn't have the effect that was expected. Well, I got really impressed with the dude and is happy with the reaction he got on his debut. Triple H even called him a game changer for the Bloodline. There are all kinds of possibilities, man. The Bloodline is set to feud with Cody Rhodes. There are also rumors of Zilla Fatu, the son of Umaga, joining soon. I feel like that while this group may dominate for the short term, they will eventually fall, as the main difference between the original Bloodline and the new Bloodline is that Roman and his group were smarter. They were more calculated and tactical because of Paul Heyman. So we can expect to see more great stuff in the upcoming weeks.
That's the thing too, because the more I look at these storylines, I think about the fact that when it was the Vince McMahon era, basically, he kept breaking up tag teams and factions. And ever since, Triple H took over a little bit and then fully took over, these factions have been part of the biggest stories in wrestling so far. So I like the fact that they did this. Now, when you look at the old Bloodline and compare it to the new one, even just looking at the photos, it just feels completely different. But hopefully they'll build them up more to where we get some type of feel from it. It won't be the way the original Bloodline won't be, because this will be the first time for a lot of people who are newer wrestling fans to see a dominant faction put into a great storyline. In fact, in one of the greatest storylines of all time in pro wrestling. But I don't know what they're going to do with this. But Jacob Fatu himself, he is a beast. I mean, any match that he's going to be in is going to be a banger. It doesn't matter who it's going to be against. Either they're going to look good together, or he's going to make the other person look good. I would love to see a match between him and AJ Styles at some point, though. I think that would be great too. But anyway, what do you guys think about Jacob Fatu? Is he one of the top 10 wrestlers right now in WWE? One of your favorites? Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a good day.